Hello Commanders, my name is Rabbity, and today we're going to be checking out Flare Company's Nikke's Goddess of Victories, Alice. She's quite the bubbly, upbeat 1-on-7 figure, and her coloring here really brings a lot of warmth and energy to the table, which is nice, yet not necessarily similar to the original illustration. I feel like this is a classic thing Flare does with a lot of the figures they produce, where the sculpt is pretty decent and everything almost seems like 100% accurate to the artwork. And then it comes to the coloration, which is just very off. It's not necessarily bad, it's just different. But the problem with this is that not everybody wants different when they love the artwork in question. It is so epic when you have a figure modeled off of an illustration look so similar to the illustration. Alter and those Azur Lane figures are just wildly accurate. Hold up, I actually have an unboxing video for this figure, mixed with unboxing a couple of other articles. If you'd like to see the whole unboxing experience to Alice here, be sure to check the link in my description below. With that aside, it's time to get into the review to this figure, starting with her base plate. You know, it's not extremely extravagant, but it's not a boring, simplistic one either. I really like what they were trying to go for here, transparent, clear plastic, and it seems like all of these robotic parts are all the designs you would witness when summoning her on one of your wishes. That represent the franchise very well. The fact that it's clear, you can always put a little light under there. Due to how reflective this latex high gloss paint is, it looks really nice when light is reflecting off it. You get a little bit of the production information molded along the underneath back, but it's not too noticeable. When looking underneath, the whole thing is pretty clean. She pegs into this chunk of clear plastic, nice metal peg going through there and into her leg, and her running sneakers are pretty spot on. We've got all sorts of gorgeous paintwork here, a couple of decals, though I would have liked a little more definition and polished work on the Velcro strip as well as maybe the shoelaces. Despite it seeming a little bit messy on a shelf, it does look very good. The shoes themselves have all sorts of lovely design work, but it's nothing that's really properly carved in. In this, I would have liked to have seen it be a little better shaded, where then when we go into the sole of these sneakers, they look really thick, comfortable, and we have a lovely tread underneath. Almost looks like there's a specific little design at the heel. I just started playing Nikke, so I could get to know a little bit about this figure, and honestly, I don't know if what's on her heel is a design of any kind of importance or significance. So if you happen to know, please write so in the comment section below. Her socks are well sculpted with a cute little pink line going along the top. However, they don't look like they'd go over her latex costume particularly well. Because her legs are not two separate molds, it's one single one going into these socks. Personally, I would have sectioned them off so it would have looked like her legs are going into the socks. With what they've done here, looking at it from a microscope, you can plainly see that you even get a bit of the latex that doesn't go completely into it. I hate this, but from a distance, it's not that noticeable. It's just something that kind of bugs me. The legs themselves are extremely well sculpted. Very minute stretches in the fabric here and there, but due to the high gloss, they pop out wonderfully. Where on her left leg, we have her superb, and a little bit of writing that says, "Myself of today that is much better than yesterday." If this is a unique Nikke lore thing, I don't know that much about it. But I do enjoy the fact that her design has something like this on it because it does break a little bit of the monotony of the simplistic pink that we see all over the place. The legs go up into the hips where we have a couple of other folds and stretches in the fabric here, and along her behind, which is quite the impressive one, but I suppose that's nothing new or unique for any of you Nikke players. The legs are in two separate parts, which then plug into her main body, and due to the way that her latex costume is designed, this works very well at hiding that fact. My one gripe would be the fact that her body paint doesn't necessarily match up well with her legs. We have a little bit of shading and highlights on this figure's pink costume, where the legs seem a little bit colder and the body's a little bit warmer. Though, even though I say this about the legs, it's still all a warmer pink. However, the bodysuit of the initial illustration is not a warm pink, it's a cold fluorescent one. And that is frustrating because I love the cold colors much more than I like the warmer ones, though the warmer ones do represent her personality better. So this color choice definitely does her justice. However, for those of you that truly love the character from the game, you might think that she looks slightly off and you weren't really sure why, and that's one of the two reasons that now you probably know. Her main body is extremely well sculpted, beautiful curves along her front. We have that cute little belly button that's slightly noticeable. We all know that this is impossible when you're wearing latex, but it is like in the illustration, and it does look rather cute and pretty. As we go up into her chest, which is, much like her personality, very bubbly. Everything here looks so bubblegum and so plasticky, but you know what? That kind of works. She is a robot after all. Along the center top of her chest, we can see that she has a nice little white design that's starting to show itself, where it's then beautifully covered over by her jacket. As we spin her around and check out her back, she has this lovely defining line for her spine with really nice sculpt work to emphasize the stretching of the material while still being painted on and hugging every facet of her body. A part of me would almost think that this costume isn't a costume at all and is her body because she's a robot girl. But then they made that bunny version of her, and that one shows off some skin, so I guess she does have skin under this? Unless she can remove her head and put on a different body, because I feel like Nikke should be able to do that. This adorable jacket is freaking adorable. But like much of the rest of this costume, which is a warm pink, the jacket is also a warmer red instead of the colder one that you get from the illustration. From the back, we have this lovely little silver clip with a black attachment. Personally, I think I would have liked some of the shading to outline the line work of her costume just a bit more, so we have more depth and we can see things popping out just a little better. And this is a figure that you may display by showing from the back because of the fact that it's a Nikke figure, and I'm pretty sure they all have quite a bit of detail from the back. Looking at the front of this cute little jacket, she has these lovely pouches, the words superb and elite written on the front straps. Little pouches look really good, and they were glued on after the fact as separate pieces, where we then come down to her right arm sleeve. And like I had mentioned earlier, this would have benefited heavily from a little bit of line work or just better shading all around, because the straps we have going around her biceps are hardly visible, and that's just disappointing. Imagine being a sculptor and putting so much work into something, and then your colorist kind of drops the ball. This is something that happens fairly often in comics. Though it does happen often enough the other way around too, where the sculpt work might be a little weak, but the coloring can really make everything shine. Unfortunately, that's not the case today. And the sculpt work is absolutely phenomenal on this arm. The poofs and folds of the bottom of this sweater really look nice. Cute right hand holds on to the sleeve. The sleeve does look puffy and comfortable. Her right hand, however, is well sculpted, but they chose to put the thumb in on a separate piece of plastic that they attached in here, and the line that we see on this thumb is absolutely atrocious. It's very visible, very deep. It doesn't feel like it pushes in there nicely. And because most of the hand is being hidden by this sleeve, you could have easily done this so that wouldn't have been that noticeable. Heck, the hand itself could have been one big piece that you just slide in there. I don't understand why this is two separate pieces. I would love to have some interviews with some statue creators just to find out what they were going through, how or why they needed to make a choice like this. Her left sleeve has the same issue with the not being able to see the bands going across her biceps. And the sculpt work here is exceptionally good once again. I love how the fabric and little pieces are bubbled outwards due to her bending her arm upwards. And her hand here looks absolutely adorable. Nothing to say here other than well done. On her left shoulder, there's this peg. And that's where you get to put in her sweet sniper rifle. So before I get into it, yes, you can choose not to have the sniper rifle in place if you want to. You get to see a lot more of her from the back, which, you know, is very fitting for Nikke. It's surprising how much that sniper rifle really hides and becomes a major focal point due to its coloration. So having the option to not have the sniper rifle is definitely there. You're just always going to have that little dug-in peg in her left shoulder. It's noticeable when you look at it from up close, not that noticeable when you're looking at it from the back, and from a shelf, most people won't really notice that hole is there in the first place. But you will. You'll always know. The sniper rifle is freaking cool. It's intriguing that we have a little bit of extra detail along the inside with the bolt, considering you're not even gonna see this while it's on her. The strap is very beautifully done. So much texture here. We get a little bit of reflective metallics, while most of the rest of the gun is matte. However, we do have a reflective plastic for the scope. All in all, very cool, and if you wanted, you could display her with the gun on the base because of the way that the strap is made. I don't know if this was planned out, but it definitely works out. Her head and left arm are both removable so you can put the gun in with ease, and because of this, her neck goes into her pink latexy neck collar extremely well. You can see her jawline and everything, but there's no actual line as if the face was attached to anything. It's all one piece leading into the neck, which is, it's gorgeous. I like it. I'm pretty happy about that. One thing I have to point out is that this figure does have multiple lovely breaks in her textures, which is awesome. I just love the fact that we go matte, gloss, metallics, gloss, matte. It just breaks up so nicely, and it's just so pleasing to the eye, which is saying something because there is a lot of gloss pink here. It could have been a huge detriment to a figure like this where she would just look boring with her design. Her face is very cute, nicely rounded off with a pointy nose and a pointy chin. They gave her very rounded cheekbones, and aside from her coloring not being 100%, the second thing that I would say is a little bit off when you're looking at her would be her face. It's by no means bad. It's an art style. It's subjective. It just doesn't look exactly like the artwork. So clearly the sculptor struggled a little bit with this, which is saying something considering how well sculpted the rest of this figure is. And even the face is well sculpted. It's just not exactly like the illustration. We get a lovely light pinkish shine for her lips, with a very well sculpted three-dimensional mouth. The eyes are very reflective while the eyelashes are not. So these decals are lovely. They put a couple of blush lines on her, which is cute. And you don't really see her eyebrows too much, but they are there. Her hair frames her face very well, though I would say the shading that we get on it is too simplistic, very dull, and I would have liked a little bit more definition. And that's my only complaint I have to say about the hair, because the sculpt work and the choice of how they're going to section off the plastics was done so efficiently that it's hardly noticeable whatsoever. Clearly they attached the front part on, then they put her headphones and the back part goes in afterwards, and this hides any kind of mold lines, which is just terrific. The back of her hair looks beautifully sculpted, as we have some nice sharp sculpted lines leading to her cute silver hair scrunchies? It's not a scrunchie, it's just like an elastic band but made out of silver. She's a robot, because of that, this all makes sense. Beautiful twin tails then explode out of these things, and we see them flowing all over the place in every which way direction, so many strands. Though like most hairs that have this flowiness, there are in fact one or two spots here or there that are kind of just, you know, glued in there, not perfectly, but for the most part, it's very well done. Her headphones are cute and adorable. They could have made a lot of these things just decals, but they didn't. They went the extra mile and carved it in and then put in some paint. We got a little bit of metallics here and there for the hinges as well, which is just really fantastic. She has these little ears where I always thought she was like a bunny girl because she does so many bunny things and the whole Alice in Wonderland and Rabbity and carrots and everything like that. But they look more like deer ears to me. I guess because of the fact that I don't know so much of the game, I might have mistaken her with her bunny costume version, which does indeed have those bunny ears. These little ears are cute, and they look like they're plugged into the headphones very nicely. Where on her left headphone piece, she has a headset coming out. It's very simple, but nicely carved out and sculpted. And on the inside, we have some beautiful black line work to indicate the speaker. Like, I feel like they didn't even need to do that, and the fact that they did is very cool. The headphones look so real and well done that it feels like I could just take them off and put them on other figures. Upon her release, she was going for 21,800 yen, and I mean, inflation is a real thing, huh? I feel like that's very expensive for what you're getting here, especially considering Flair's Nier Automata 2B with all the bells and whistles, the robot, an extra head, much bigger. This figure here was $10 more than this figure, with a difference of 2 years. Oh my gosh. I'm guessing they think you'll just pay extra because you love this character so much? I do find her to be better put together than the Nier Automata figure, but it's the fact that that Nier figure just gives you so much. And even if she was released in today's day and age, what, would they add like an extra 2,000 yen to her price point? It's just... Alice is very expensive, and the fact that she is not 100% accurate to the artwork could really be a detriment for her. I'm a huge fan of pretty in pink, bright fluorescent colors, high energy, and Alice really has that in her design, and they did a great job with her here. And because I'm somebody that just dips their toes into the game Nikke, I don't know enough about the character, but this figure here, despite being slightly off, is very cute regardless. I just don't really mind the minor differences because I think that they work so well for this statue. So this doesn't give you a high or a low in the figure, I guess it just kind of moves things sideways. And if you're okay with that, then you're going to be really happy with this figure. But if you're not, you're feeling a little weary about it, you're still on the fence, be sure to check out other people's reviews on this figure because this way you'll get more angles, different perspectives too, where someone else might actually convince you to get her, or completely do the opposite and make it a hard pass. Hopefully my review today is one of the ones that helped you make that decision. If you like my video just a little bit, it doesn't cost much to
give that like a squeeze. Just hug and cherish that subscribe forever. Oh, and let's not forget to
blow up that notification bell.
This way you'll be notified of the future reviews I make. It goes a super long way at helping support my channel, which I really appreciate. Have an amazing rest of your days, Commanders, and I'll see you next time. Bye! I actually did this. And what's funny is that not only did I do this, but I put this one in here too. Yup,